Released this week, as far as retro games are concerned, is of course the Sonic Origins collection, which was done in the Retro Engine, which is Chris Whitehead, who remade Sonic CD way back at this point. And they've kind of given that treatment to all the Sonic games. So, well, not all. So this is Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3 plus Knuckles. You can play them all in widescreen, and they are not ROMs. They're rebuilt from the ground up in this Retro Engine. So it's been a little bit of a divisive release, I think, for a lot of different reasons. One major one being that the developer, I'm trying to find the right screenshot here. So one of the key developers was Headcanon, and a representative from that company has come out and said that they're not happy with how the games turned out. They are a little buggy, I have to say. But I find it really interesting that they would come out and be really public about this. It seems like a strange thing to do for a contractor, personally, but yeah,
burning a bridge. I think
it feels like it.
Probably not going to work with Sega again after that. But maybe they'd already decided like we don't want to work with Sega again, so I'm going to go ahead and scoop up.
That's kind of save face a little bit, kind of get some of the blame or so at least public perception off of us. That way, when we get our next gig, we can at least say, a lot of this stuff wasn't our fault.
Right.
It's hard.
I feel even after all that, I mean, so I've played through Sonic 1 and I finished Sonic CD this morning, and it's a little, I don't want to say buggy. It doesn't feel buggy to me. I think it's sort of a natural differences based on the fact that this is a rebuild, right? But it's little things, and a lot of the stuff I find is probably not even going to be noticed by most people, but I find it noticeable because, like, as an example, the first Sonic, I mean, I've played through that game so many times over the last 30 some odd years that it's muscle memory at this point, right? So like I'm expecting things like in the labyrinth zone when you push the little green blocks into the lava. In the original game, if you just keep pushing in the direction you're going, Sonic will just continue to walk and get right on that block. And in this game, he stops for an instant, right? There's just a little hitch in his animation or like stuff like that. Or I also find that his collision box, I think, is a little bit bigger than it was in the original game. Like just little things like that I feel like if you're not massively familiar with the old games, you're not really going to notice it. I will say that the biggest thing that I did notice when playing through that is that they changed the way the air bubbles work anytime you're underwater. It takes longer for the big bubble that you can breathe in to render. So you actually always have to hop up to it. And there are actually points in the game if you're in a low ceiling that it won't render until it's already too high up to reach, which turns some of those areas really hairy. But I mean, for the most part, they're well done. It's fun to play them in 16:9. They made some interesting changes to some of the bosses because of that. Like the first boss, if you remember in Sonic, you have the two platforms on either side. You're kind of used to letting the border of the screen stop him when you jump onto them, and now of course you can just overshoot the platforms completely and land back on the ground. Like little things like that you have to be aware of, but for the most part, I think they're pretty well done. And one of the things that I was really happily surprised about is they actually have new animated intros and endings for every game.
Oh, okay.
Which I was not expecting.
I'd be more like excited to see that. Like, I haven't bought the game. I haven't played the game. I think it's cool they did that, like you just said, but like I already have all those games. And it's like $40, which I understand. If you've never played any of those games, maybe that's a great way to play them. The stuff you just said about like the muscle memory issues in Sonic 1 would drive me crazy, just knowing myself.
Right.
But I did see like screenshots and whatnot of the animated stuff, and it looked really, really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know how any animated stuff, and I'm actually the exact opposite because growing up, I never had a Sega anything. I've said it a number of times on my show. I was Mr. Nintendo, Corporal in the Bit Wars, that whole thing. But so I never really played the Sonic games as a kid. I've only completed Sonic 2. I've never even finished another Sonic game. So I wonder how I would feel as someone who's not terribly familiar with the franchise. I've played them, but never to the point of completion. I wonder how I would feel about Sonic Origins just as somebody who doesn't really have that muscle memory. I wonder if I would even notice or if it would feel more natural to me than it would maybe someone who's very experienced.
I think it's built for you.
See? There you go.
And Chris, what you said, I agree. And this game was bought with show funds. I would not have purchased it myself. For exactly that reason. Not because I think they weren't done well, but because I own, especially the first Sonic, so many times over.
Yeah.
What's the point of spending 40
If I was going to like stream it or something, then I would just use some show money and buy the game. Yeah. But I wasn't really, I would rather do a live stream and play the original games.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, if you told me you bought the game with your own money because you just liked it, it's not like I would judge you or anything.
I felt you judging me.
All of the judgment just...
But so what I will say though, so I was really happy and happily surprised, pleasantly surprised is the phrase I'm looking for. Pleasantly surprised to see those little intros. And they even did new animated intros and outros for Sonic CD, which of course they didn't really need to do because that already has an animated intro and outro. So it was nice to see that. But what I will say that I'm completely disgusted by in this collection is first of all, like and I don't even know if I had this, they released different versions of this game with different DLCs, and I couldn't even tell you what exactly came with what. I ended up buying the digital deluxe version, which I think, so there's a museum in here that includes videos, music tracks, and illustrations. And there's like a standard, when you go in there's like a standard tab where everything's either unlocked or it's unlocked via, as an example, those videos. All of the opening videos for the games are unlocked automatically. All of the ending videos for those games are unlocked when you complete the games. Makes sense, right? Totally cool with that. But then there's like a premium tab. Everything in there is locked. And it's locked behind a virtual currency. But as far as I can tell, these are coins. And as far as I can tell, you can't buy them. These are earned through play. So when you play the anniversary editions of these games, which is 16.9 editions, you have unlimited lives. And lives in the game have been replaced by coins. So when you collect 100 rings, you earn a coin. When you know what I mean? Like anytime you would have earned a life in the game, you earn another coin. And this is the currency that you use to unlock things in these premium tabs. And I mean, there's some cool stuff in there. Like the first thing I unlocked was like a symphonic version of like the Sonic medley from the end of the first game, which is great. It sounds fantastic. But
this is what you're disgusted by is that you have to play the game to see the stuff in the museum.
I know, but okay, so there's more. There's more to this.
I think the Capcom Generations games on the Saturn and the PlayStation do that.
There's more to this. Okay,
so I assumed.
So the other thing with these is that it doesn't come with any kind of rewind function, which I think is kind of needs to be standard in these kind of compilations at this point. But that's just me because I'm not playing Sonic again because I want to prove I can beat Sonic. I just want to see the damn thing and I want to experience it again.
You just need to get good.
That's fair. So of course, in all the Sonic games, if you unlock a bonus stage, you go and you get like a time stone or a Chaos Emerald, whichever game you're playing, that changes what it is. It's easy to screw up those stages. Obviously, they're really difficult. If you finish one of those stages and you haven't gotten the Emerald or Time Stone, a little modal pops up on the screen and says, you failed to get this. Do you want to spend some coins to go back and do that level over again? And I disgusted is a strong word. What I'm irritated about is that I hate free-to-play mechanics invading games where it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why that needs to be a thing. And I believe the other thing that irritates me is that I think the stuff that's in those premium tabs I already paid more money for anyway.
Mm.
Like I already paid over and above what I would have paid for the collection to have access to that stuff, but now I need to go in and get access to that stuff.
Oh, I thought what you were saying is that if you had the premium collection, that stuff was just already unlocked.
No.
You're saying you still have to go like
That's not
dance
Yes.
when they grind their organ in order to get. All right,
Yes.
yeah, that's. I don't know if I would say disgusted, but that's not cool.
It's
Yeah.
rather annoying. That sounds really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you pay extra for the thing, you expect to have all the things unlocked. And
Yeah.
I guess I could. I want to say I can see where they're coming from, but I really can't because, like, to your point, Greg, why make you jump through? Why include extra friction to get things you paid for?
Right.
Really, I guess that's
Yeah.
the question, right? Like, even with this coin system, I guess the incentivization, that's not a real word.
Incentivization.
If not, it
Incentive-
should be.
Yeah.
You know what? It is
I
now.
wouldn't have questioned it.
Excellent. Well, hey,
I'm going to
listen,
go
that's
register
just-
incentivization.com.
The incentivization of that particular mechanic may be, hey, keep playing it. Let's get more.
That's exactly what it
value.
is.
Right? Keep playing,
Yeah.
and you can unlock these things. But I'm with you. If I'm paying extra, I don't want to jump through those hoops. Just give me the things I wanted,
Right.
or
Yeah.
do other ways of incentivizing play,
I'm curious though now because you made the comment, Greg /CJ, about the rewind feature. Yeah. The which I mean I'm not super into that, but I get what you're saying. But do you think that like the Chaos Emerald, like I'm thinking specifically of like Sonic 1 with the spinorama stuff there. Do you think that you should be able to use a rewind feature in there?
Yes, I do. Now, stay with me here. The reason why is because I would rather that players have that option. Again, because these aren't new games, right?
Yeah.
I already proved to myself that I can beat Sonic 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I just want to go back and relive some memories. I'm not necessarily. I think a lot of people for these collections, a lot of old people, are there to relive and have like a nostalgic experience. So it's kind of like, I guess, the same thing I would say for like the Sega Ages release of Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
Right. It's like if you want to play it the way it was and you want to do the 30-hour grind, you can do that. But if you just want to experience what the game had to offer, flip this switch, and now we've removed 20 hours of grinding. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I feel about these retro compilations, and I know that that's debatable, but either way,
I mean, what you're saying, I think it would be cool maybe if you could at least go into the game settings and turn that on or off.
Right.
To me, it's just like, well, if the rewind feature is there, I feel like I'd be too tempted to like use it, but if you could turn it off and say, no, I want to try to play Sonic, straight or whatever and get the good ending, then I'd like to be able to do that without having to like exercise self-control.
Right. Conversely, you know what? If you don't want to do a rewind feature and the setup that's already there, it's like, you know what? If you want to go back and try it again, that's great. Sure, I'll go back and try it again. Don't make me pay some stupid virtual currency to do it. Just say, because otherwise the game is unlimited lives, and there's no other point. At no other point do they, if you die, do they say, do you want to go back to a checkpoint, spend a coin? It's just these things, right? Yeah. So it's just like, whatever.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that about replays and such. I didn't mention this in the games we were playing because I've been just kind of like mainlining. Quick little aside, the air conditioning in my house went out about a week and a half ago, and I live in Texas.
I remember this story.
Yeah, it just came back. We just got it replaced for an exorbitant fee. I don't like signing checks that big.
As if living in Texas wasn't bad enough. Living in Texas with no air conditioning is...
Yeah, there's all the negatives of living in Texas. Then no air conditioning on top of that is just beyond the pale. So we were staying at my in-laws' house for a few days, about a week almost, because they had air conditioning. So I was away from my computer, and I just had a Switch. So I've been mainlining Aria of Sorrow for the first time. And I've just been mainlining. It's great. It's a really fun Castlevania game. But the Castlevania collection has all that fun stuff. It has a replay, it has save states. And when I play games like that, I try to have as an authentic experience as possible. but I love having those safety nets. So if I'm going up against death, and I'm getting wrecked, I don't want to have to go through the select screen and the start screen, pick my character. I'm going to save state right in front of the door, and then I'll go through and I'll do it. So I love the more options you give people, the better. I always think that's always a good thing. More options are great. So I'm all for the replays. I'm all for the save states. Give me all the options, and then I'll make the choice whether or not I want to use them. That's it.
Yeah, and that's all I was saying is I would just hope it would be an option that you could turn on or off.
Oh, God, yeah.
I used to be kind of like, I don't know, I had this weird attitude that I was like anti-save state. And someone kind of had to point out to me, it's like, well, you're an adult too, and you don't have all day to play video games. And like having,
right.
Because to me, it's all about, I was only looking at it from the point of view of just sort of like quote unquote cheating. I won't say that it's cheating, but, not playing the game straight, and using save states and not really even thinking of it from the point of view of like, hey, maybe you got to go and you're not near a save point in like Aria of Sorrow, for instance.
Right.
Perfect, so it's nice to be able to just like click save state. So.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how you want to have that experience. That's really just
that being said, if you want to use save states to quote unquote cheat, like I don't care. Like anybody that gets weird about that and wants to tell you how to enjoy video games is a weirdo. So
that's my thing too. I agree with that 110%. It's like, don't tell me how to enjoy my leisure time. Yes. Right? Like this is supposed to be fun. If what's fun to you is Dark Souls, the challenge of Dark Souls, I respect that. That's not fun for me, but that's totally cool. That's how you want to spend your leisure time. Yeah. But I will say, as far as save states, this thing also does not have save states. However, it automatically saves at every like checkpoint, whatever those things, like the signposts. So I mean, you're never more than 30 seconds away from where so that's not a big deal to me. But yeah, anyway, again, it's nitpicking. But I don't like the idea of paying for something that I have to then further unlock. But I'm fine with the stuff that is in the game and locked behind an achievement, basically. Again, I totally get, don't put all the ending movies there that I can just go and watch right away. Sure, make me finish the games. That's fine. That makes perfect sense to me. So,
but other than that, it's just weird because I feel like, as we all do, like I remember, what was that? I think that was like the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, era or whatever generation, when all of a sudden we had like these achievements in video games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now, like, well, maybe not now. It's probably been going on for a while, but I don't play modern games that much. But it's now you're almost like monetizing achievements by saying now you have to get achievements in order to unlock other parts of the game. And that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's that the best way I can describe it is like I said, it's just the sort of the invasion of the free to play mechanic. Like, I at least would understand it more if you could buy these coins. I wouldn't be okay with it. I wouldn't be happy with it, but it would at least make more sense to me.
That's where I thought you were going when you said you discussed it. I thought money was more money was entering the equation.
Yeah. No, just time.
Yeah.
And it just depends on how much your time is worth, I guess. But
like, I'd be more disgusted if like you're playing Sonic 1, for example, and it's like, whoa, do you want to try to get, you made to the bonus round. Like, do you want to try and get the Chaos Emerald, or do you want to spend $1.99 and just buy the Chaos Emerald? Like, that's disgusting.
That's gross. That would be, I can't even, it's actively making my skin crawl.
That's like upper
that idea.
Levels of gross.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, and I feel like we're never more than 1 or 2 games away from that being reality.
Never one or two more patches away from that being a reality. That stuff's not great.
That's the other thing. Every time something like this happens, in my mind, it's like, is this a trial balloon? Like, is this you sort of pushing it a little bit? Because we've seen that so many times in the last few years where companies have backpedaled as soon as they've tried something like that and it's blown up and everybody freaked out, and then they backpedal and just say, oh, so that's not how it's supposed to work. And it's like, I don't really believe you. I think it was how it's supposed to work, and the canary died. Yeah. So you backpedaled, right? So
it's doing the stretch before you put your arm around the girl.
Exactly.
She recoils, you're like, oh yeah, just like
sorry,
back sore.
That's exactly what it is. Wow. And once in a while, she doesn't mind, and you're like, wow, didn't even notice. Fantastic. Oh man.
Oh my god.
It's not good.
Yeah.